Hello. In this video, I'm going to talk about advanced savings account paradigms. The savings account module has become significantly overcomplicated for the intended purpose that I want. I want it to be a very simplified introduction to Jackrabbit TV, and it has grown beyond that. So I'm going to be slimming it down drastically. But before I did that, I wanted to produce a video that shows how to recreate the savings account approach using far more sophisticated module combinations, but still accomplish everything the savings account accomplishes, and taking advantage of every single opportunity that DCA updates offer. The savings account module is a beginner's stepping stone. But once you have that, and you need to go to the second step, this process is where you go. This demonstrates the second step. So let's start with the DCA module. Now I'm going to merge this into the main chart. I just find it's easier for me all the way around, and it makes things appropriate to what I need to analyze. Now, for this approach, we only need the entry signal. Nothing else matters. And I'm going to go as the first example strictly on the basis of what started the savings account approach, the paradigm, the thought process, and eventually what led to the module itself. Parabolic stop and reverse. This was the trigger point that I used initially to get the very first signal that needed to prime the entire engine. It's not a complicated process, and you don't even need to configure it. From here, this is completely it. All we need is the entry signal, and as you can see, it generates a lot of them. This is why I based my original paradigm on this module. But this isn't the only module you can use for advanced triggering, and I will demonstrate that in a little bit. For now, though, let's set this up. I'm going to set this up using historic, and I'm going to use DCA and take profit. Now I'm going to leave these alone. In fact, I'm going to leave everything else alone. And I'm just going to hook this up to the parabolic SAR. I'm going to switch this to historic as well. And voila, we have the entire basis of the savings account. Not that complicated. This is literally how the entire paradigm started. The default settings are every 2%. So as you can see, in scrolling back, this is exactly the way the savings account module performs. Nothing overly bright here. Very simple mechanics, always in approach. The advanced process means we can go beyond just always in, but we can actually pick momentum, MACD, Bollinger's, whatever module you want, because all you're using is just the entry signal. So this is it. This is the whole process that started the savings account paradigm. And as you can see, this is channel locked to high heavens. But again, it's to be expected. That's what the savings account is. Patiently ticking away, raking in profits, and doing a good job of it. So here we are. Simple, straightforward, exactly what the savings account module delivers in a more advanced form. Now, let's move to something a little more complicated. Something a little more precise. And this is why I am really getting ready to simplify the module itself, because it was never intended for this kind of advanced functionality that I'm about to demonstrate. I'm going to take, again, I'm only using one module, but any of these modules can be used to seed it. Ikimoku, JR Lane, MACD, moving averages, any module can provide the first entry. You can even use ATR and get a low entry if you want. I'm going to use moving averages. And I'm going to use a very simple yet effective momentum. So I'm going to use a split channel. And this will be basically a trend writing approach. I'm going to use SWMA on both of these. Sine weighted moving average has a lot to offer. So let's do momentum. And this is by no means the only way you can proceed. There are literally millions of combinations that you can use this paradigm on. I'm just choosing some very simple ones that fit with the purpose of a savings account module, to be able to function within TradingView's Pro subscription, which means only one module and dollar cost averaging. But if you wanted to get into more sophisticated entry points, you very easily could. And that really is the point of the whole system, to hone this down to very precise details. So now that we have this part, again, savings account process, we have a reasonably adept approach. Again, all that matters is the entry point, nothing else. So let's go back to the entry point of this combination. By using this advanced approach, you are opening yourself to every single possibility the DCA module uses. And as you can see, this coin is a difficult coin to work with by any and all means. But the savings account module is designed to function exactly as it does. I'm going to scale this down to the 1 minute. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to do some very basic tweaks. Let's go with a 4% deviation, so we have a very limited $300 budget. Now, I could go through and make more changes, but I'm not going to. let's just stop there for right now. And as you can see, 3.5 days worth of data, but it does excessively well in a smaller time frame. And it does limit very much appropriate to the direction of the trend. So basically what I have here on the screen is a savings account that enters at the bottom of the trend, hoping to swipe it up. That doesn't always mean it's going to accomplish that, as you can see from here. But that does improve its entry point. And that is one thing that makes it important for trying to find the next step. It's not always N. It tries to find the bottom of the swing and then get in. So here we have the last sell-off, the beginning of the cycle. And then of course it picks up every 4% like clockwork. Now let's add to the advanced features. 4% in the beginning, by the end of the cycle, 24%. So let's see how it changes the whole map. Looks like it significantly reduces the amount of overhead and the amount of positions. Let's see. Make sure I didn't mess anything up. Okay, so it didn't change anything for step. Now let's go to the advanced. The dark side of the world, as they say. When the numbers change and things get serious. Only 3 positions for a combination that could very easily generate thousands of positions. Let me demonstrate this. This is very little changing, just a few numbers and a few settings, and you have a combination that can get pretty aggressive. And you can make it, of course, more aggressive. This setting for deviation basically equates to a $600 budget. And the maximum purchases would be about $390 at this level for this one coin. We're not done yet. Here is roughly a $1,200 budget, and as you can see, what should be a $1,200 budget, I should say, because we're using price aggression, but it's actually a $4,680 budget. Price aggression in the savings account gives it a whole new level. So I'm going to go back to my initial settings and reduce this coin back down to 3 positions. So 3 positions for this coin is all my budget is going to be. Using the golden equation, round up to the nearest 10 and double it. Means I should allow a $200 budget for this position and I could even set an exit point. If I wanted to make sure I kept it at, say, $100 no matter what, I would set an exit point of 10. This approach allows much greater advanced capabilities than what would normally be available throughout the whole system, including some of the more advanced functionalities, such as shutting down after a certain number of cycles. For example, this has 6 trade cycles. I might choose to let it run for 10 trade cycles and then get out, close it down, sell it off, and reevaluate this coin based upon that current market. So various things can be done that simply don't exist any other approach. Plus you have the new candle counting process built into the DCA module, which means you can take a whole different approach to actually breaking sideways channeled situations. So we've gone up from 3 positions to 12, but as you can see, we haven't affected our trade cycles, but we have gotten out of that channeled situation a little better. And this is using the new techniques built into the DCA module. So you can see how the channel system now gets broken. That's important. Now let's see if we can improve this a little bit more. Let's disable the module temporarily, and let's see if we can find a better entry point. It's a common way that people like to trade, myself included, and it does a very good job of ensuring that your entry point is very reasonable and modest. So here we go, and going through the process of linking the MACD module. It's important to understand only the buy signal counts, nothing else. So in the process of setting this up, when you look at the chart, it's not going to matter as much on the basis of the entirety of the signals versus just your entry. For this one, I'm going to go to a very interesting but complex combination. Something to really stretch out the functionality and analysis of the MACD itself. So as we proceed, now let's see what happens. Now let's link it back up and see what sort of entry points are produced on the basis of the signal. Now this is still using a very advanced technique. And as you can see, only 8 positions this time, whereas the moving averages module used 12 positions. And it looks like I have slightly more trades because I've improved my entry point. This is what the trading account paradigm is meant to be. The process is allowed to function and develop in a way that you can maximize a very simple combination using an always-in approach that provides you control over the market. The one thing you are never guaranteed is the amount of time it will take for the savings account paradigm to complete. For that matter, any recipe is indeterminate in terms of time. But this process and approach of using a more complex ideology allows you to be either more defensive or more aggressive, than what the standard savings account module should be, and is by default. The goal for the advanced thinking process is the second step in realizing and understanding Jackrabbit's true potentials. While the savings account module itself makes a great entry point, using the savings account paradigm as your second step in learning the Jackrabbit process opens the door to inter-module connectivity, and it also gives you more control over your coins, particularly coins that, as you can see, like this one, are extremely difficult to work with to begin with. LTC is a coin that's above 1 billion market cap, but it is a nightmare for long-ranging channel-locked situations. By focusing on more advanced approaches, you can simply let this coin run and do what it needs with limited amount of budget and not focus on it taking up too much of your total reserves. This is just one of many approaches that gives you a strong and detailed analysis to which you can limit your exposure to the market. Hopefully this video will take you to the next level if you're just starting with Jackrabbit. And if you are familiar with Jackrabbit and been using it for a while, then hopefully this will give you some different insights into possibilities that can use the savings account paradigm with much more advanced combinations. Remember that by using your buying positions as DCA and not strategy, you are purchasing at exact fixed intervals. This really opens the door to a lot of interesting combinations, recipes, and approaches that can extend your trading in ways that may not have otherwise been possible. If you have any comments, be sure to leave them in the video or ask questions in the support server and let me know. Until next time.